name in there. I thought it was a logging matter. I should have just put Marie.
I've also got mine by mistake. Well, yeah, but it just is what it is, I guess. Yeah.
We are actually live now. Everyone's out there to say hello. So good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Hello.
Yeah.
Morning.
So I hope everybody's doing really, really well. Anyone that's watching, hey guys, lovely to have you with us again. So today we're doing. We're going to talk about one of my favourite ever things in the whole world, because it's finding your inner power. And I'm such a great believer that, I mean, anything that you really truly want, I really do believe that it's all possible. Everything's possible just by different things that you can do, and to strengthen your inner power. We all have an incredible built-in inner power that has carried us through the hardest of times. So, I mean, myself personally, throughout my life, I've had some really, really tough times. And at the time, I've always thought to myself, I've been lost and like, how the hell am I going to get through this? But then you get through it. Your inner power takes over, your being takes over, and you get through it. And then you look back and you go, okay, well, this all happened for a reason. I'm here now. And I had to traverse this rocky road to get to where I need to be right now. So your inner power just gets stronger, and the more we use it and the more we trust it, and it becomes our guide. So you can call it all different things, and I call it that I'm guided. I really do feel that I'm guided in every area of my life. I feel very, very lucky, very blessed. But people call it different things, their internal systems, whatever. So today, with Inner Power, we've got some lovely people with me today, and we've got somebody new that hasn't been with us before, which is Aaron. Oh, Marcus is joining us as well. Marcus, darling.
Hey.
Marcus as well.
Hey, how's it, Marcus?
Good, thank you. You guys all right?
Yeah. Today we're talking about inner power. I thought that would resonate with you, Marcus, as well.
Got to have some inner power, haven't we?
We've all got it. So yeah, today we've got an Aaron who's new, and he's amazing as well. I met him on a live stream that I did, and I just resonated with what he said as well. So I will stop rambling, and I will just say, to me, with inner power, it kind of links in very much to gratefulness as well, because with gratefulness, you're appreciating everything that you have, and you're not focusing on what you don't have, you're focusing on what you do have, which is creating that internal inbuilt strength to get you through these things. So what does inner power mean to you, Lee?
Me?
Yeah.
So I think it's when you find the strength from within. So briefly, when we were talking beforehand, for those who weren't on yet, I was talking about the different sort of, I suppose, minds or brains or things that I use. I think in order to have inner power or to listen to it, we need the gratitude, but we also need to have a connection to something more. And it seems that with whoever I've ever worked with, it comes from something that is within us, but also without, so whether you choose to use the term God or spirit or angels or source or whatever. And I don't actually think it matters what your choice in religion is. Susanna was talking earlier about, accepting the Christianity, the Judaism, the Buddhism, the whatever, all of us are looking for something that's within us, but also without. So it's not just a God or something that's up there, and it's not just I'm so strong and I'm so powerful. It's not like an arrogance or an ego. For me, it's something where there's a kind of a connectedness, and that connectedness is within us in our different beings. So when I was talking about the brains, I'm talking about the multiple brain integration, where, the sort of the gut brain is that gut feeling that you have. The heart brain is that sort of, you feel it in your heart, you want to hold on to something with your heart and your head feeling. So if we were to do a kind of a meditation or something on that, we would sort of sit there and say, okay, sort of, when have you made a decision in the past that has something that has been such a success? A big decision. and find out where the feeling was. Did you think about it? Was it really a thought head brain thing? Was it something that was more in the heart? Was it something more in the gut? Where did the decision come from? And then we go and look at other sort of bits of, where did things not work out? So what were you using then? So where is your strength and how is it connected? And are you getting it from the same place? And I think it's allowing, once again, that connectedness to source, to God, to something that is greater than us above, but then also below, because we're here, we're on earth, we're physical beings, and we need to accept and enjoy, or we need to connect to what is. We can't go floating off on some planet and not be involved with the day-to-day stuff that we've all got to be involved with, whether we, you know what I mean? We're here, we're part of earth, we are human, we are sort of energy and matter that has come together as something. So when we can kind of connect to earth and let it sort of incarnate in our beings and connect to source, to God, to heaven, to above, and let it connect, then we have a flow. Or if we allow the flow and we allow the time, then we start connecting to this being, this thing that is within us, that can help us make the decisions and feel strong and cope with what we're given on this earth. So that's kind of a little sort of starty start to this.
Beautiful, Lee. Thank you. That's a lovely, lovely start. Oh, it's gorgeous. Thank you. So, Susanna, you gorgeous being, you angel of energy.
Well, thank you for the lovely introduction. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate it. And I take it all in. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. I'm sorry, I just
added to my own inner power.
This is Lena's just joined us, but on Zoom you can only have 6 people. Lena, hold on, I will text her. You carry on talking, and I'm going to just text Lena. I'm going to text.
All
Lena.
right, no problem. All right, so I'm glad we discussed about this because it's a very interesting subject to explore. For me, for a long time, I didn't know I had any power, and probably we're all in the same boat on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled a lot and had a heavy heritage to deal with. And for a while when I was younger, I felt just like I was pushed by life, pushed by thoughts, pushed by emotions and by patterns inside me. And for a while, the best that I could do was to stay afloat. Forget about feeling inner power. I was just struggling not to drown. And all the work that I started doing on myself, all these studies that I've done, and all the practices that I've included in my daily life, basically all the work that I've done with myself was mostly to stay afloat rather than create something or feel empowered. And I'm pretty sure that many people listening now could relate to that. And then even when the weight of some of this was lifted, it took me some more time to have a more of an objective perception of myself, to see that in that struggle that I led was in fact lots of strength and inner power. I always tell my clients that sometimes, because we want to be able to measure the result of an action in order to validate it, we cannot see that inner power. There are many situations in life when we cannot really measure the impact or the importance of what we're doing, right? For instance, parents who are taking care of handicapped kids, or taking care of the elders. When we work on ourselves and we don't see results, you don't necessarily see an improvement. The question is, where is the inner power then? But my perception of things, of how I recognize it now looking back, there is a lot of power in strength in that struggle. And I tell my clients in the coaching session, strength is not always in what we do, but also in what we choose not to do. Sometimes just choosing not to go into that depression, not to go into the despair, not to fall is strength. That is strength, because life is not always easy. I'm not making an apology to struggle here. On the opposite, I choose, and I want to choose joy and ease and happiness. But the truth is, life is throwing at us things sometimes, and choosing not to fall with it, that is inner strength for me. So the power is in that struggle. And when people are depressed and feel burdened, is their ability to go on and persist in doing something. That's inner strength. And I tell people when I do coaching with them, and they keep talking about how hard it is, and all I see is beauty. And I tell them, don't you see? Can't you see that in this struggle, in what you want to do, coming to see me, paying this money to do this work, and doing all these efforts, there is your strength. And once this aspect, for me personally, once these certain aspects have been lifted and it started to get easier, and I started actually to see the results of everything that I've been doing for years and years, because it takes years sometimes.
Yeah.
I was able to recognize and everything that I've learned, and this acuity of perception, because by looking at yourself, you start to have more perception of what's happening in there. So all these capacities and all this knowledge that has accumulated all these years, one day just sprouted. It's unbelievable. And then you can start to be playful and creative with your mind and invent new possibilities of being and reacting. And I think my inner power now, or what is inner power to me now, is being able to use the abilities that you have as a human being, because we have plenty, being able to use them consciously and properly, appropriately. Yeah. And failure or weakness actually is just the misuse of the mind. So it's basically turning these abilities towards the right direction. So I don't know if that made sense.
That really does. Oh, it's perfectly put. Perfectly put.
Thank you, Danielle.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, Susie. So now I'd like to go. Maybe we can go to Aaron, because we haven't heard from you yet. And I would just let you know, Lena's there, so I'm going to swap her in at some point just so she can talk too, because I can see her. But StreamYard only allows 6 people, so I can just keep swapping between. But Aaron, please, what is inner power? How do you get your inner power? What is it to you?
Yeah, I totally resonate with what Susanna just said, and I want to connect it to the that she was saying that our value is in our adversities. That's what basically what she said, right? And finding those positive lessons for you, the opportunities to grow, is very powerful, and that comes from your inner strength, your inner beliefs. So having that deeply rooted belief in yourself that whatever happens to you in life, so-called failure, is actually an opportunity for me to grow. It's a learning experience. Is simply, I think, one of the most powerful experiences. And that sort of connects to also going through rough times, this pandemic, and we sort of gain perspective, right?
Yeah.
We're grateful, and we practice gratitude, we gain perspective, and we look at and ponder on our values and beliefs a little bit. And I think it's very important to me, inner power comes from these deeply rooted beliefs, core beliefs and values. Yeah. So to understand what's important to me and why I do the things I do, because those are the values. Yeah. And of course your core beliefs. And just to understand and kind of reshuffle these values as you gain perspective, I think it is a great way to kind of to ground yourself even kind of deeper, if you will.
Absolutely. So thanks, Aaron. That's really, really lovely. And also to find your inner power as well, it's very important to take note of the language that you use and the words that we speak, because the words that we use are designing our outside world, and so much of what we say out of our mouths creates not only the world, but the action. What's that alarm going off? There's some alarm going on. So maybe we can. Is it Marie? I don't know. It's an alarm. But yeah. So to me, if you're very mindful of those words that you're speaking, maybe that alarm. Sorry, it's just come to me. That alarm might be because Lena's there.
But also Benjamin was trying to get in just now as well. He sent us a message. Benjamin.
Okay.
So
it might be on my end. Going, hello. Yeah. So to me, the language is so important because we are designing what we see and who we are as people. If you say, I am strong, I am capable, I can do this, I am, this is challenging, but I will get through this. All of these words, we are building up our core strength, our inner strength, and we're becoming what we say we are. So on the opposite scale, if you're saying this is difficult and you're complaining and everything's coming from a negative perspective, you're creating so many different obstacles in your way to try and get that, that inner strength is that inner power is getting cut down more and more just by the words that we speak. So to be very mindful of that and come from a place of love and openness, and just to be what you want to see as well, to be what you want to see. So I'm going to go to Marie.
Morning, everyone, again. In what is inner power for me, and I've got, I think, two approach with this. The one I think is we all have, to start with, we all have that inner power. Now, are we always aware of it? That's another topic, but we all have that. And for me, there's two types of inner power somehow. It's the unconscious one that we all have, regardless whether we're aware or not. And that will be that you'll find it whenever we get into a situation where the stress level or the hurdles are big enough, and we get that gut feeling, that instant, that thing that we can deal with it, it's okay. And that comes from deep within, though we don't have the root of how it's going to happen. It comes without the mental taking place. And then we've got, I think, this inner power where, as one of you were saying, it's like we almost a conscious inner power, which is going to be through vocabulary, through making the choice, or saying, I can do it. I've got it all inside me. I think for me, the complete inner power is to mentally manage to, from the moment you can not function with your truth and what is deep inside you, that is the biggest strength. Often we're going to try to get the input of what the environment gives us. And we're taking so many input for the environment that we're almost shutting down what our true self is giving us as an information, as inner power to deal with it.
I agree.
So for me, inner power is also the ability, in a smart way, to disconnect yourself from your environment, to find this answer within you and get that trust, whilst taking maybe the input from everybody else. But do not make the choice or the decision or find this strength thanks to the environment, but thanks to yourself. And making that choice of choosing to be happy, to trust yourself. And that takes quite a little while to train yourself to do it. So it's really this unconscious level where you know instinctively in your heart and your guts, that's the strength in you, and that makes you move and whatever, you're going to move forward. But then you go back into the mental, and that inner power is really, for me, this alignment of maybe connecting to yourself and not and find the truth in yourself, but not just reacting to your environment. And that's your inner power. It takes.
That was lovely. Thank you, Marie. That was absolutely beautiful. So Marcus, I'm going to come to you, my darling. So I know we've been through some stuff together, me and Marcus. So we've had to find our inner power, and it's right now we're using our inner power on a daily basis. So talk to me. What's inner power to you? What would you?
I think, obviously we all take from our own personal experience, and from my point of view, I grew up in a small town that was predominantly a very traditional white area, and I was a mixed race kid growing up in that town. So I felt like I was very disempowered from the very beginning, because I think now I'm older and you realize this, I suffered at the hands of a lot of racial abuse growing up. But those children and those at the time didn't obviously know what that was putting me through, as your adult. So some of my friends today are those very people that was calling me names when I was young. But inside that like kind of burdened me so much. There was times I used to go home and like literally try and scrub myself white because I didn't understand why I wasn't the same color as other people. So it was very much just the color thing, because it was just an undereducation thing of living in a small town that didn't really see people of any other ethnicity. And even to this day, actually, it's still a little bit like that in this town. Not that there's a lot of racism that I'd know of, but you don't see many other cultures or colors in this town. So I think that was the beginning of me feeling like disempowered. And I was always quite a small guy as well. So I'm only a short guy, but I was very small in school at the same time. So I think just through my early life, I felt very inferior, and it's really weird, because now I start to realize that I feel like, for the first time, like over the last sort of 10 years, I start to feel that I'm actually my own person, and I don't have to look up to everybody all of the time. And I don't mean that in a negative way, just in a way that I can be my own authority. So that is finding that inner power from there. So to come through that, you find whatever you find in life, whether that's God, or whether that's the universe, or whether that is like divine power. And as in the famous words of Tony Robbins, like where focus goes, energy flows. So I think that's the thing. We talk about, like, it's the story we tell ourselves, and then you start to realize that in life we do have to go through certain stresses, because most things in life, a tree doesn't just grow out of the ground without suffering some stress. That's how the biggest, strongest trees grow, or so on and so on. So I think, like, if you're going through some tough times, I think it's that thing of realizing, as Danielle says, we do create the world. We create our own world. We create a world that we design by its very nature, and what we tell ourselves and our thoughts and our actions every day lead to that. So I think Susanna said, like, you have these actions and things that you take every day, these things that steps that you take every day. So as you know, we've spoke about this before. We have a morning ritual. Every morning we get up and we kind of have this system. So we do some breathing techniques. I have a cold shower, go through this process of like focusing on me first, and my wife focusing on herself first before we start our day, because that is looking in on ourselves to come out to the world with that inner power to tell yourself, even as crazy as this sounds, to stand in the mirror and say, I am good enough. Every morning I go through some affirmations, like every single morning, and everyone's affirmations are going to be their own affirmations, but I tell myself the things that I'm going to achieve and say that this is going to be a good day, and at the end of each day to say that this has been a great day. And those hurdles can only make you stronger, because so that is for me where the foundations come from, of like looking at the victim mentality that a lot of us do. It's very easy to fall back on victim mentality and be like, this happened to me and this is why I'm so messed up, and by focusing on that, we go back to the fact of going, where focus goes, energy flows. And if you're putting your focus into the negative, you're going to draw back that negative by the very nature of the law of attraction in itself. So I think for me, the foundations of saying now, right, we have all these tools and we have all these actions we can take each and every day to find our inner power. But I think it's that realization that whatever your beliefs are, whether you believe in God or you believe in a university, we have to at some point realize we have to believe in something, because we are human beings experiencing human consciousness. That in itself is a miracle. So whatever you believe in, you've got to know that if you don't, you get people talking about we're in a simulation and all of these like theories of what we are, but either way you look at it, that's still incredible. Whichever way you look at it, it's incredible. So that for me goes, well, I'm not just Marcus, that's a music agent and a singer and a husband and this stuff. I'm actually a powerful being, equally like all of you guys. And the guy that works on the checkout or the in Tesco's, or the lady that cleans somebody's house, is not just that person that they identify themselves with. They're actually part of infinite energy, and that means that they are part of that, part of a bigger energy, whether they realize it or not. And if you can start to realize that we aren't just our job title, we are part of this incredible human race, and we choose whether we want to be a good person or a bad person or a negative person or a positive person, because it's all in your mind. And that's where the inner power comes from our hearts and our minds to put that out into the world. So that's my kind of
Brilliant. So I'm going to just press on Lena, and I'm going to swap her in. I don't know what's going to happen. I've never used this before, so I'm just going to press a button, right? Hold on, the studio is limited. So can I take someone out just so that I can put Lena in, and then I'll keep swapping. Aaron, is that all right if I just remove just for the time being? I'll put you back. But
you can take me out if you want as well for Benjamin to come in.
Oh, I love it.
Benjamin's
not here actually. Hold on, let me add in Lena. Lena, thank you for waiting so patiently. It's the new system. It's the new system. Hold on, let me just say. So, hi Lena, how are you doing? Let me hear. I can't hear. No mic. Hold on. What's going on with the mic? Your mic's not working.
Yeah.
Mike, can't hear you.
You sound very, very low.
Can't hear you at all, Lena. You sort that out. Actually, can I just quickly go to Lee? Because I was very interested. You carry on. Is it working, Lena? No, it's not working. Hold on. Lee, you were talking about earlier, you had three, was it, you had three stomachs, three minds?
Three brains, yeah, three minds.
Three brains. Please, will you talk about that? Because that to me was really interesting. Lena, see if you can sort your sound out. I don't know.
Okay, so what that's based on is multiple brain integrations called MBIT. And it's just integrating the different parts of your mind or of your body, of yourself. So if, for example, you know where I find that I use it most with clients or myself is when there's a big decision or something that needs to be made. You know, we tend to look out at people and want people to help us, and we want people to make decisions for us. As you all know on this forum, I've had an issue with my office and what to do and what not to do. And I kind of want almost, it's like there's this part of me that's thinking someone must just kind of say, okay, this is the story, this is what's going to happen. But we need to take responsibility for ourselves. And when it comes to anything that happens, you know, like what Marcus was saying, I mean, that can't be an easy, you know, I read Trevor Noah's book, and you should actually read that because he's you know, he's gone through that shit here in South Africa. Sorry about my language, I forgot. But it's really hard, and it's somewhere in that you found the strength within you to rise above it and take responsibility for how you're going to deal with it and how you're going to handle it. Now, I think that's a much harder route to take than to continue blame or something else. But using the three brains is when you're making a decision based on your whole being. So there are so many different ways of creating decision, making decisions, but it's got to do with the feelings, with the insight, you know what I mean? But MBIT is about getting to understand your own sort of feelings and your own decision making. So if I was working in a situation with people and asking the question, like I said earlier, we would sit and we would say, okay, so when has something happened where you've made a really good decision, or where, and you find in your body where it is. And I think it's quite common that we know that there's the head, you know, we make decisions with our head, the sort of the logical side of things. We make heart decisions and we make gut feelings. So when we're struggling, it's like in NLP when you do parts integration. Is it this or is it that? What is it? And I think in so doing, in a way, in the same thing, you're asking those different parts of yourself as to what is really needed. So you're communicating with the different parts of your entire body and using the different brains, so to speak. You're communicating with different parts of your body to come out with your own decision, to take responsibility with who you are. And it's hard. I know it really is very difficult. I would so love to sometimes just be a little kid and have my mom kind of sorting everything out or whatever, my dad. But we have to. And when we connect to the inner parts of us and we start making those, you know, taking a little bit more responsibility, that's when we start feeling empowered. And that's when we start connecting, connecting to the inner strength, to the inner power that we really do have within us. And again, I'm very much talking on a level where sort of the people who might be watching this on YouTube, you know, I know that Susanna brought up having a disabled child. You know, my mom did. My brother was not well. And there's so many much bigger different sort of things, but on the whole, I think wherever you are and whatever's going on, if you can, and it's hard work. Life didn't just sort of happen clicky and happy for everybody. It's something where you've actually got to take the time to do it. And it's that what Marcus was saying, waking up in the morning and actually physically spending that time. Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes you just want to have a cup of coffee and think, stuff the world. But if you do it, the difference is so incredible. And it's that allowing yourself to listen. I had a chat with Susanna the other day, and listen came up so much. Is that it's so easy to talk. It's so easy to not listen because you're kind of a bit scared or whatever the case is. But if we listen, not just to ourselves, not just to others, but also to the wisdom, to whatever it is that comes to us. And some of us feel it more, some of us hear it more, some of us see it more, but I really think when we do listen, we come up with what's that power, something that's within us.
Yeah, that's lovely, Lee. Thank you so much. And also, if you think about it, the brain cannot actually differentiate between what you're thinking and what you're imagining and what is real, because it's all the same in your brain. It just kind of like molds into one. So if you can imagine your future self, what you want yourself to be like, and just imagine that, what you would see, what you would feel, what you would hear, what you look like, what you want to become, what you are, kind of thing, and just and your brain will act on that knowledge, because it is whatever we believe it is. So
absolutely true. There are actually a lot of things in that's why hypnotherapy is so good. Yeah. There's a lot of studies on people. I mean, there was one very famous one. Well, I think it's famous, but I read about, was a guy in prison, and he wanted to run a marathon. And I may have spoken it about on here before, but he was in a very small confined space, and he knew when he was coming out of prison was X date. And within a small period of time, every single day in his cell, he visualized himself doing that marathon, drinking the water, seeing the medal around his neck at the end, blah, 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 blah. And, you don't do 42 kilometers without training. I mean, it's really bad on your body. But he got out, and 2 or 3 days afterwards, in whatever he had, he actually did run that marathon. And it was because he practiced, he rehearsed it, he knew it. It was, yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. So, shall I ask, is there, Susanna, shall we do what we were talking about, maybe with the hypnotic speech and maybe doing a little meditation that we could do together?
We could do that, but you don't want to invite Benjamin and Lena?
Benjamin's not here. He's not in the room waiting. If he was in the room waiting, so I can only invite who was here. So when Lena was here, I saw her and I could swap her in, but Benjamin's not here. If you do the meditation, I will text Benjamin. Technology queen, right?
But I'll wait for you to text Benjamin so we can all do it. But I can add to what has been said, and it's beautiful what everybody said, and it's interesting how everybody perceives that inner power in a different way. But it all comes down to the same thing. And
oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
All right. So. And the idea of responsibility, I think the only responsibility we have is to, I try to find the best words for that. The only responsibility is to choose and to allow something, I always come back to this, allow something greater to happen, because we all know this body functions by itself. Thank God we don't have to wake up in the morning and start thinking, I need to breathe. I need to make my heart beat. So there is a certain level, a higher level of intelligence happening in this experience. I'm not just the body, I'm not just the mind. We ignore the body most of the time, but there is a sense of high intelligence happening in there. And I think that the only inner strength, the only inner power can come through tapping into that particular life that is going on here. If we have the curiosity, and if we are playful enough to go in there. Who was saying, I don't know if you know, I'm sorry, it's the cat that has been playing around earlier, and I have fur everywhere. If you know, and if you've heard of Alan Watts, and he was saying something which I love. He was saying that people are taking too seriously what God's made for fun. So there is a sense of struggle and a bit of an ego if we're looking at closely in that inner power to prove that I'm good. I think inner power, as you said, as you said, Daniel, comes with gratitude and with this not humbleness, but with the realization that I'm not only these thoughts, and that there is something greater on there that I can tap into and that I can allow to happen through me. So I don't know if that made sense.
Well,
And
sorry.
so if you guys want to tap into your inner power now?
Oh, maybe Marcus, we'll do this definitely, Susanna, because I really want to do this. But Marcus, what were you just about to say?
So just something that Susanna was just saying, and just a thing to say of like, I think one of the realizations that I've kind of had in life is like Susanna said, we have these thoughts, and we're not just about the thoughts. That does allow us to go. We are part of something amazing. But I was thinking about the fact of what you're talking about with the free minds, and I think a lot of the time, for, like you said, for one person things are different for another person, and there is a lot of studies to say that within the gut we produce serotonin and all of that stuff that gives us the happy hormone and stuff, and I think just inherently we if we really do look out for it, we do feel that the signals coming from inside of what we should be feeding ourselves. That's why everyone has different diets and different things, because inherently we know what makes us feel good and what doesn't make us feel good. And therefore, I think, like in itself, going back to what Susanna just said, was I think what we are in our core is we're life. We're life, and when we can connect to life in itself and know that we are life's energy, that's when we can find and tap into that inner power.
That's so, yeah.
That was lovely. Yeah, absolutely. Because the world is energy. Every single thing on this planet is and universe is made out of tiny atoms and molecules, and including ourselves. And we are just really the same material as the planet and as the universe. So with that, we have infinite power.
Raise the vibration, as they say, raise the vibration.
Yeah, I mean, like I've been through some stuff in my life where I've had everything, it's seemingly just pulled out from underneath my feet, and it was, and I'm talking specifically actually about when I was back at 23 and I had my record deal with Simon Cowell, and I had this big track that was meant to be #1 all over the place, all over the world. Big year build up to it. Oh, Benjamin's coming in. I'm just going to swap in Benjamin. Hold on, Marie. I'm just going to take you out a second, and then we just remove and then add Benjamin. Hi, love. Hi, darling. And yeah, and it was meant to be #1 all over the world, and all of a sudden, it was meant to be on the National Lottery. This is going back 20 years when there was 15 million plus viewers on this one show. There was no satellite signals. It was just BBC, ITV, Channel 4. That was it, really. And I was booked to do the National Lottery that Saturday night. And the Saturday night before, Princess Diana sadly got killed. And I got a phone call on the Monday morning saying they pulled the TV channel and pulled the National Lottery show, and that my record was being shelved. And that was completely out of my control, completely. And it floored me because it was everything that I'd dreamed of and wanted and visualized, and it was coming true. And all of a sudden I had no power in that situation. And I felt powerless. But what I did, it took me a few days to gather myself together, and I just rebuilt who I was as a person. And I literally focused on, like, I never want to feel like that ever again, that powerless. And I never want to work with anyone that would feel that way because of me or anything I've done. So what I did was I channeled myself into a management role, because I had a control of, so that so people wouldn't feel like how I felt, and that's what I did. And that got me through that period. So I channeled my inner power and I changed everything about myself I needed to to move forward, and it felt really good. So yeah, there's been loads of different things like
and that's what's amazing, Danielle. Like, you know, without telling you the full story, I've got a very similar story to Danielle, and we've been known each other for many years from the music industry. But it's a very similar thing happened to me and my wife, but it was when Michael Jackson passed away. So it's almost the same story for us guys. But look, you know, I think look at this, like, you know, we're here chatting with amazing people from around the world, and you know, we've realized we found new paths and stuff, and we still work in the music industry, and we still perform to thousands of people and get to live that dream and stuff, you know. So I think it just shows, you know, like you can carve a path in life. It's not always going to be what you think about sometimes, but either way, moving forward is the key, and you keep moving forward with that positive energy, and you will keep finding that you will keep finding you know, greatness. That's for sure.
resilience, isn't it?
Beautiful,
Resilience in adversity. We can do anything. Benjamin, you're here, my love. Hello.
Hi,
Hi,
Oh,
everybody okay?
oh,
good in you.
Hi, man.
how's
Yeah, really,
you?
really good, thank you. I was listening on Facebook trying to join. I don't know whether your studio was really big and you had lots of guests trying to join you.
I couldn't see you coming in the room, otherwise I'd have added you. Lena was there, but I'd added her, but there's no mic for some reason. So then I messaged you and you're here. So tell me, inner power. I know you love inner power. You work with that as well all the time.
Oh,
I don't hear Benjamin at all.
Oh, don't you? I can.
No.
I can.
I can hear him.
I can hear
Okay.
everyone. Just keep going because I can.
Okay, yeah. So inner power, it's beautiful. It's a wonderful topic. Hence why I'm in the party. And the words that are coming up, you know, alignment, law of attraction, universe, inner being. For me personally, that's what that means. Alignment for me means connected to my inner being. And for somebody who was growing up in a non-spiritual family when my family was all together, to now be talking like this, I was just having a moment in the studio here thinking how much it's changed. And I'm probably the only one in my family with this real solid belief, a complete trust and unwavering faith that I do have an inner being. And when I'm connected to it, and I'm looking at the world through the eyes of Source, then I feel most happy, then I feel most at home. So that's what it means for me. And that for inner power, my inner power comes from that connection to my source or inner being. You know, we try not to use the words, you know, God, because it means so much to so many people, spirit, soul, infinite intelligence. But it means that for me, it's my connection to my inner being and all that is. And I think that's where, in my opinion, it's what we teach here, that's where all of your power is. You know, am I looking at this through the eyes of Source is a question I ask myself probably 10 times a day, you know, and it's what we teach, and we teach our clients to do the same. It's about, you know, looking through the eyes of optimism, looking through the eyes of Source. And, you know, when you're feeling good, you are moving in the direction of what you want. You know, so that's really important, that feeling good. So it's about momentum. It's about momentum and the law of attraction are the same word. It's different pronunciation, obviously, because it's a different word, but it's the same thing. Momentum's the same as the law of attraction. So if you can speak mostly about the things that are pleasing to you, then that's a great start. It really is a great start. You know, we're forever, if you like, talking subconscious or conscious, or you know reaching for a better feeling thought is always a good starting point for anybody. You are source energy. Marcus is right, we're all source energy, and whatever that source means to you is great, because the word is not really a big thing. You know, it's the feeling of that connection. So that connection to source energy or infinite intelligence is profound. You know, a good starting point is what gives me great joy. Straight away, you know, those empowering questions can bring you back to some kind of, you know, alignment, if you like. It is a process. We know that. But if you can break the segments down into what you intend them to be, then it's always rewarding. You know, for me, it's a great topic, and I love you all, and it's brilliant that you're having these conversations, because we all have. Isn't it wonderful that there is lots of variety and diversity and teachings on these subjects that we're all so passionate about? You know, transformation for me is when instead of looking back, it's about where am I now? So I am here now, and what is the best feeling thought that I can think right now? And that's it for me. That's transformation. My transformation's every second, every moment, every minute. You know, it's forever. It's, you know, I am source energy, so I'm on my path. And that's highly recommended for anyone. From where I'm standing, where I'm sitting, and what I'm seeing, it's already done. Everything you want's done. All we have to do, as you know, Danielle, we spoke about it the other day, is become a vibrational match to it. You know, and that just keeps yielding more and more and more of the things that you want. You know, it's interesting because I was talking to somebody just quickly this morning, and they said to me, so I've been through X, Y, and Z. And I said, okay. And they said, so have I got to go? And we've spoke about this, going back and changing anything. And I said, well, you are here now being taught by somebody who teaches Art of Allowing, Law of Attraction. So you've already asked for an improvement in your situation. So if you want to go and revisit all of that, if you want to go and, like, you know, activate that vibration as we talk about it here, then by all means you can do so, and I can point you in the direction of the people who will be best to serve you on that particular thing. I said, but for me, if you've already asked for that improvement in your situation or in your circumstances, then it's a done deal. So let's talk about ease, kind, sure, clarity, fun, happy. Let's talk about those words and what those words mean to you, because those are the kind of words and how they feel to you that will bring you closer to what you want, bring you closer to your source.
You wouldn't believe what's happened. Sorry, my roof has started leaking.
Oh my word!
My roof is actually leaking as I'm sitting right here. I'm going to be wet in a minute.
Oh my
Take an
God.
umbrella.
Telling me.
All is well.
Oh my gosh, proper. So I'm going to have to get that fixed a minute. Listen, Benjamin, I love that. But what I wanted to do, that led on really well. If I don't get soaking, right? That's led on really well to Susanna. You would not believe what I'm seeing. I'm sitting in. Oh my word. Anyway, I'm just going to
Get
take
a raincoat.
I'm just going to take it. Susanna, that led in really well, because we were going to do a meditation, Benjamin, and Susanna was going to lead it. It would be a short meditation.
I'm so sorry, Benjamin. I haven't heard a word from what you said. I'm sorry I missed all that beauty. I didn't hear anything.
It was excellent.
I bet it was.
It led in really
But
well.
I just listened to with my heart.
Oh, I'm so wet. Right, you do the meditation. I'm going to go and get a bucket.
Okay, we're going to do that in a moment. I just wanted to, Benjamin, do you hear me? But I have no way, because I don't see him and I don't hear him neither. So I have no way of knowing if he does. He does.
Yes, he does.
All right. What I wanted to add, it's a little metaphor. I just had this image as you guys were talking and listening to Benjamin, actually. That basically that inner strength is doing what needs to be done. Imagine we have a garden, like a piece of land that you have to take care of, and you want to create out of it a beautiful garden and have it the most beautiful, the most inspiring garden you wanted. And you buy the seeds and you plant the plants, and then you take care of them. But it's not always up to you. I mean, you don't really make or literally make those plants grow. What you do is you continuously take care of that garden on a daily basis. You go remove the bad herbs, you water the plants, you display the plants in the order and then depending on their needs, if they need more sun or more shadow. So I think to me, inner strength is that call from nature, that urge to create a beautiful garden, and that perseverance to go and do it every day, no matter how things turn out. Because you can have days that there's no rain, you can have days that it's stormy and your garden gets destroyed. So the perseverance and that force in you, which calls you to do that, Have you ever wondered why exactly we want things to get better? Why we want to expand our awareness? What is that? That's something that comes from deep within, and it's already programmed in there. And in yoga, we say that actually, because we in yoga we also talk about the 3 levels of mind. In the chitta, or that subconscious, superconscious, or unconscious mind, where is the database, we all have the grain of the memory of who we really are, and of that life that I was talking about earlier, and Marcus as well. So we're going to tap into that, all right?
Yeah.
And probably listening, because you're listening to this and because we are all part of this, we wanted to tap into that inner power, and all these beautiful thoughts that were shared already brought up some memories somewhere. Your body probably is tingling already of something that is happening. You probably already remember some of those memories from the past when you felt powerful, or when you look back at a certain situation and you felt power afterwards, thinking, oh my God, I have done well. After all, I have made it. After all, I succeeded. So we will tap into that a little bit, but also going deeper there. Where is that source, that grain, that seed that is in there already? Because this is the greatest illusion that we all have. We believe that we cannot be powerful. We believe that we can avoid being that energy or that life. That's the greatest illusion of the human life, that we can do something to hide away from that, and we can fool ourselves for a while, but eventually we always go back into that sense of power. Why? Because it's part of who we are. So let's close the eyes for a few moments, please, and make sure that your position is comfortable. And take a deep breath in and a deep breath out with a sigh. And with every breath and every beat of your heart, just let yourself relax, because you know how to do that. And just follow the sound of my voice, and every sound that you hear other than the sound of my voice, because they're not going to disturb you in any way. In fact, they're going to reinforce you the idea that you are completely safe and it's okay to just relax and let go. And no matter how deep inside you go, you will be able to follow my instructions. And because you realize that everything that I say and everything I do now is for you, to give you that experience that you want now, by your standards and by your definitions, your own notion, your own standard of inner power. And let that level of relaxation move even deeper, imagining like a flow, like a honey being dropped down from the top of your head, moving down through the body, from the top of your head down through the head, the neck, through the body, and sliding slowly, gently, comfortably towards your legs and knees, and then towards the feet and the tip of your toes. Allowing this flow, this wave of grounding, loving, accepting energy flowing through your body, allowing your body to relax. And in a moment, not now, but in a moment, I will ask you to begin to relax your mind as well, just as deeply as you relax your body. And I'm going to ask you to count down mentally from 5 to 1, allowing each of these numbers to bring you deeper and deeper and deeper still, moving down, down, down. So in a moment, I will begin to ask you to use your imagination, because there is a safe place inside yourself, a place that when you're there and you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you feel what you feel, you are protected and safe, and all your needs are being met. And in that safe place, probably, just probably, some of you might already have certain tastes or sensations in your body, or memories like pictures showing up from deep within your unconscious mind. Moments when you felt empowered, moments when you felt that you tapped into something greater than you, when you felt that you were completely safe. Moments when you had that feeling, that deep call from deep within to expand, to grow, to experience. When you felt how magical your life is and how powerful you really feel. And you don't have to search because this image is already coming up to the surface right now. Or maybe just fragments of that, tastes, sounds, sensations like tingling in your body. When you feel totally connected and you feel there's something there with you, and you feel like a child protected by their parents or by your mother, there is something there that you felt in the past that is now bubbling up towards the surface just because you wanted to experience that, not because I tell you. You feel for this experience right now and allow all of these images, all of these tastes, all of these sensations to come forth and notice where they happen first in the body. There is a specific point or area of your body where this sensation happens. That's right. And I want you to make it stronger and larger and give it a color. And when you did that, make it even stronger and double its intensity and double it again. Make it stronger, bigger, more powerful, more intense. That color, that energy when you feel empowered. And when it is that way, you can start moving it all over the body, from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, from the tip of your toes to the top of your head. Allowing this energy to grow and be spread all over the body, all over the body. These tingling sensations, your body being filled up with this beautiful color, this beautiful energy. Allow it to be there and sit with it for a few moments. You, with your power, manifesting right now through your body, and allow this experience to be recorded deeply by your unconscious mind, your neurology, tuning into it now, so that next time you use it, next time you need it, it will be there and you're going to feel it without a doubt. You will recognize that sense of power because it will tingle throughout your entire neurology, throughout your entire nervous system. That's right. And when you know that this process is complete, when you know that this experience has been fully recorded to a point that you cannot actually remove it or take it away or diminish it, this sense of power being recorded at a cellular level, molecular level, when you know that this process is complete, you can take a deep breath, open your eyes, and come back to now.
Oh, Susie, that was beautiful. That was absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. How does everyone feel?
That was amazing.
I almost put myself in trance now.
I know. It was so beautifully worded. I love it.
I was gone then.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, 5 minutes to go.
Wow.
5 minutes. So this last 5 minutes, Aaron, did you want to say anything further? Because did you want to say anything? Are you okay?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay.
Really nice to slow down now.
That's it. Yeah, it was wonderful. Wasn't it, Justin? Marie? Are you okay?
I'm absolutely fine. I think this is the best manifestation of what inner power
I'm
is.
sorry, I don't hear. So I don't know if somebody's talking or not.
Oh, Susanna, Marie's
Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
I can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think what we just went through, and thank you, Susanna, is indeed one of the best example that we get, and what inner power is the ability to tap, to go deep inside, tap, and start to, I've got the goose now, start to vibrate and feel that that we know, and even if we don't know, there's a part of us that knows. The subconscious level, they know. And then when we don't know, just said to this mentor, you know what? Stop telling me what to do. Can I please just feel what I need to do? And I think if we stop ourselves a few times in the day, that's definitely one of the practical way, I think, to tap into your inner power. Because we discuss about that, but for maybe people who listen to us say, well, okay, that's amazing. We know what you say, but how do I do? I'm in the day, and now I need that inner power. What do I do? Just maybe stop a few minutes and just try to feel your body, center it, whatever it is that you are doing. Maybe you're having a thought coming up when you make the decision and you're busy doing your washing. Well, let me stop for a second. What do I feel? And, is it my decision or is it a decision I think could be good? And there's one thing I said to my children very often, and I think it also goes and maybe resonate with the inner power. When you take a decision, you go forward, whatever we have to do in life, if it has to feel good, not just think good. If it can be perfect, you will think good and feel good. But if ever in doubt, listen to the feel good decision, because that's your true inner power.
That was lovely. Thank you, Marie.
I think that coincides there, Marie, of what also Susanna was saying about, and I think just in a nutshell, to put it as in, water the flowers and prune the weeds, and if you do that consistently, then you stay on the, you keep a healthy bed of flowers, I guess.
Oh, that was lovely. Yeah, keep that garden in check.
Yeah, keep the garden in check for sure.
I'm being PG. Oh dear. Guys, I just want to say a massive thank you. So to just wrap things up, that really does wrap things up with what everyone said, because it was absolutely stunning. Yet again, brilliant session with you all. Unfortunately, Suzanne, you can hear all the lovely things Maria was saying about you. She was saying some lovely things about you.
I hope so. I haven't heard it.
We have to watch.
Oh, so yeah, there's been some technical issues, but it's okay. We got there and it was perfect. So I'm so grateful. So all I'd like to say is your personal power, you can choose your response. You can choose everything in your life that just trust and know that you will always make the right decision for you. And every day, open it up, be at one, just trust. So guys, find that inner power, go get it. Incredible day, and we will see you on Friday with something totally new. So I don't know what we're going to do yet. So, guys, thank you all for being with me. Amazing. Right, I'm going to end the broadcast now, and I'll chat with you now. Okay.